Hello and welcome to Chapter 203 of the DC Alliance podcast, also known as the end of the DCEU. With me, as always, is Joe. Joe, how you doing today?
The end of an era. I would say I'm sad, but these last handfuls have been a mixed bag. So, like, I'm kind of happy it's finally done. We can reset. We can just start over. But no, I'm doing fairly good. It's been a busy December. Um, obviously we have a movie finally. Yay!
Woo!
But other than that, yeah, no, just it's been things been going on. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Joe. Off for the year now until January 1st. I managed to finagle it working today. I'm supposed to be off today. Today was my flex day because I have a compressed schedule now, so every second Friday is off. I have to work
Ah,
8.5 hours instead of 7.5 hours every day to get that, but not a big deal. Uh, I was able to set it up so I'll take 2 days off next week, and then I won't have to come back until the second. So I'll leave to come back from Allison's parents, and the first we're going there tomorrow. Oliver's grandparents. That's where we're going to spend Christmas. My parents are uh, 5,000 kilometers away, like 6, 7 provinces over, staying with my brother. So it's sad I haven't
yeah,
spent Christmas with them in a few years, and that's all I did before that was spend Christmas with my family for like 32 years in a row.
sure.
So it's a little rough, but they do welcome me a lot at Allison, so it's nice. It's
Very good.
just again, it's that. But like you said, we have a movie here, and I just want to say before we even get into it, I was sitting in the movie at the first 10 minutes, and all I could think was like, how is Man of Steel still one of the best films in this extended universe 10 years later? That's just one of the first thoughts I had 10 minutes in. That's the only thing I'm gonna say
I
that popped
mean,
into my head at one point. I'm like, just thinking about
we'll
it. Just
we'll
well,
get into our rankings at the
yeah,
very end, and I want to do a full because I spent the last couple weeks actually
rewatching.
rewatching everything. I started putting up on Twitter my thoughts. It was Twitter and Threads.
Yeah,
I got more interactions on Threads, so I just kind of said
I'm gonna have to
screw all the
migrate the
Twitter
threads now.
threads. I mean, I've been having a fun experience so far.
Gun's the most
So
active over
yeah,
there too, so I think I'm gonna have to. The worst thing is I
there
tried
is
to
that.
start threads. I think I have threads started, but it loaded up Instagram, which I had deactivated. I stopped using it, so it
Sure,
started that back
it
up. I'm like, you
I
son of a gun.
know a fellow of our podcasting of our network had the same situation where he didn't use Instagram, but I think he got around it by just making a new getting rid of Instagram completely and making a new thread. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I think I might have to do something like that as well. Who knows? Maybe I'll just activate the Instagram again. I don't know, but Joe, I'm really excited to get into this film with you. And obviously, like you said, our rankings, the DCU is over, and we're going to just give our rankings and talk about why some of these films ended up where they did for us. But we
Ooh,
obviously have
yeah.
a whole film to review. Before we do all that, let me get the network plugs out of the way so we can jump into the non-spoiler side of things. Listeners, we are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance with 7 shows in total. On Mondays, bi-weekly is Ranger Alliance. On Tuesdays is a walk through the multiverse. On Wednesdays is the Animation Nation. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance. On Fridays is Marvel Alliance. On Saturdays is this show, DC Alliance. And Sundays monthly is World's Finest True Believers. Star Wars Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Marvel Alliance goes live Thursdays at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Time, and DC Alliance goes live Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. All three of those shows also have their own podcast feed. Search DC Alliance, Marvel Alliance, or Star Wars Alliance if you just want DC content, Marvel content, or Star Wars content only. But if you want all 7 shows on the GUA Podcast Network, stay subscribed to the GUA on your podcast app of choice. We also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, a $1 tier and a $5 tier. The $1 tier is basically a tip jar. You like what we're doing and you want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier is where you get your extras. You get your ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes. Myself and Joe are going through all the DC films through the years, right back from Batman 66 all the way up to our most recent entry, which was Catwoman. Oh my God. I'm not going to say anything, just going to hold that for our fun discussion film. We also have the Marvel Alliance guys, Chris and Brent, doing their Infinity Saga rewatch. They're covering the entirety of the Infinity Saga. We also have Katie going through Star Wars canon comics. We have Clay with his Marvel Snap, and we have Joe's Multiverse Minutes. We thank everyone that's a patron, but if you're not a patron, if you take a quick 30 to 60 seconds to rate and review the podcast on your podcast app of choice, it's always greatly appreciated. It helps other people find the show, and that's always a good thing. Okay, Joe, I think that's everything out of the
I think
way.
so.
Uh, we have a movie to get into. So I must ask off the top, what are your non-spoiler thoughts about Aquaman and Last Kingdom?
So my non-spoiler thought. I had fun with this movie. I wasn't the best movie of the DCEU. No, I would say it's definitely the second best of the last five. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, of the last five. So basically, Black Adam on. It's the second. Wait, hold on. It's up there. I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it. If it's not the second, it's the third for me. We'll get there when we get there in the rankings. There are moments where Momoa went full Momoa, which is fine. Like yeah, I wish it would have been a little more serious. I also wish this movie would have connected more to the universe overall. I really wish we knew what the scenes with Ben Affleck were, but
I have a theory about that.
the,
Well, I have a theory about
okay,
that.
we'll get into it.
When we get into the film, I'll tell you where I think he might have played a role.
I have a rough idea, but sure, we'll get into it. We'll get into it. But no, overall, like I was excited going into this. I was really looking forward to what Black Manta could bring to the table because he was one of my favorite parts of the first movie. And I'm not gonna say he was underused. It was just like we've got two villains playing out two major plots in the first movie that just kind of, in a way, butt against each other. This one is Manta's the main villain, and then you had Orm. You stop. Yes, yes, or Mongo, if for those who actually listen to the Geekverse. You've got some situations, sure, but Manta was the villain that was promoted.
Yeah, I'll agree. I'll agree with you on that one.
No, I had a good time. I really did enjoy it. And when we get to our rankings and when we go through the movie, I'll pick out the stuff I liked. There's stuff I didn't like. We had flashbacks in there that I didn't know why. I get some of them were reasonable why we had them, but like we didn't need all of them. But we'll get into it when we get into it. So, what were your thoughts on it? I know you are
I'm a little
different
than you, Joe. I must say, I did not enjoy this film very, very much at all. There were some fun times, some fun scenes, some good action points, but I thought this story was a mess. The opening really felt to me like it was newly shot. I feel like there was a different opening to this film. I feel like that was an opening that was shot later. It just did not feel it, and you hit the nail a little bit, but being promoted as Black Manta, I was so disappointed because if you listen to any of the DC alliances prior to this, I was very excited for this film. I was very excited for Black Manta's revenge tour, and to see him get tossed aside so quickly at the end of this film, I was shocked.
I mean, spoiler alert, he tossed himself aside, but we'll get there.
But like, I'm just talking about in terms of like the number one villain and all that.
He wasn't the overall villain. Yeah,
overall,
sure.
which again we talked a little bit about that with multiple villains here. I did enjoy elements of it, the brother stuff. Some of that worked for me.
Yeah.
But overall, I think this was worse than the first one, which I'm sad about because I thought it had every element going in with the Black Manta Revenge Tour to have like a fantastic ending of the DCU and ending of Aquaman. But no, that's not.
But you
what we
also have
got.
to remember this wasn't supposed to be the last one of the DCU EU. Things that got shifted around, and this became the last one.
Yes.
It should have been. It should. And whenever I do a rewatch, whenever that will be, God willing, Flash will be the final one because that was supposed to be the final one.
And to see literally the last scene we got for the DCEU, and again, that stuff makes me just think about the going all the way from what we got at the start of the DCEU to what we end the DCEU with. I'm just like, I haven't seen such a dip. It's astonishing to me. All the complaints, all the belly aching got us to this point was cockroaches. That's all I'll say, cockroaches. So uh, yeah, I laughed. But I just did. I was laughing more about like this is the end. So we'll get into
Yeah.
all of that, Joe. I am excited. Before we talk about the film, there is the whole point of the box office as well. Why the big wigs make these films, and for from Luis Fernando here. Aquaman Return made a soft splash at U.S. box office, despite kids at school, as Aquaman: The Last Kingdom grossed 4.5 million on Thursday previews, number 4 lowest ever for DCEU, slightly above Birds of Prey, 4 million, Shazam Fury of the Gods, 3.4, and Blue Beetles, 3.3. A 26 million to 29 million 3-day weekend and 34 to 39 million 4-day holiday opening could be in the cards. What could be below industry's already pessimistic projections.
Yeah, because they were last we heard there was like 40 to 50 million, right?
Yeah, and not only that, Wonka as well is still
Yeah,
doing
I
well.
didn't think Wonka was gonna do as good as it's been doing. That's egg on my face.
Yep, same. Well, and but again, egg on WB's face as well because these are both those their films.
Sure, but
Whereas
that
spreading them out,
again, we don't. Why? Yeah, why go up against yourself?
you
Why
know,
hurt yourself?
and then I'm like, I'm the executive Paramount Plus. You know what we need? That guy running our shit. Let's go. We'll talk about that
Maybe
in the
we won't have to
future.
worry about that next year.
We'll talk about that in a future DC Alliance episode, of course.
Yeah,
But that's not what we're here to talk about. It's sad, Joe. I was hoping this would make a bit more, considering this was $1 billion. This is a sequel to $1 billion film, but there
sure.
is also a state of box office for comic book films. But this is not just a DC problem. People might paint it that way, but some of Marvel's movies, most recent entries, are not performing well as well.
Yes, DC has definitely taken the brunt of that hit, but it's
That's
really
because
just been a good chunk of this year.
mhm.
Just comic book movies in general have been falling. I don't want to say falling to the wayside because there was one that came out this year that was like good that I get that made money. I can't remember.
Guardians and Spider-Verse.
Guardians, well, definitely Spider Verse. I think Black Panther, also
Yeah,
Wakanda Forever, also
yeah.
did really good. Was that this year or was that last year?
I think that was this year, Joe. To be honest with you,
I don't
it's
remember.
20 since 2020, it's kind of blurred together and
Oh,
like
funny
merging.
enough, I was just talking with my girlfriend about that. How 2020 felt like a whole lifetime ago, and
Yeah,
2020 changed everybody, and you are a different person than you were in 2019 and prior. 2020 just changed the landscape
it's
overall.
changed the landscape of
Um,
a lot of things. But
yeah,
and again, I do think it partly has to do with this as well. The box office is not big for average superhero films anymore. This is not your
no,
Venom getting
no.
700 million anymore. That's not going to happen.
Well,
So,
and you had again a lot that was pre-COVID.
mhm,
This is like you said, a sequel to $1 billion movie pre-COVID. Like, and
mhm.
I'm wondering if they were just banking on, oh, we're gonna put it in the same time slot as the first one. It's gonna be a surprise hit. Well, maybe not a surprise hit. It's gonna be a hit just like the first one was. People are gonna go see it. And we talked about this last week, when your main star is barely promoting it or kind of just the wind is out of his sails when he's promoting it, no, you're not going to get people to go see it. Like, word of mouth for this will not get people, will not get butts and seats. Plain and
S-
simple.
Say what you want about The Rock. He promoted the shit out of Black Adam. He did not stop until it was put out.
And the Black Adam out of the last five is the highest grossing movie of the last five DC
Not gonna
movies.
lie, Joe. After Black Adam was out, if you told me that, I would have been like, "No, Joe, you're joking.
Right?
Like you're messing with me. That's just
I
not what
mean,
happened."
and I, Yeah. Yep.
It's rough. It's rough. It's rough for this film as well. I hope it's a little bit better internationally, but again, it's not looking well for Aquaman 2 at the box office. So, Joe, before we get into all our spoiler-filled thoughts, we'll take our first ad break of the evening. Listeners, we're an ad-supported network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe, let's get into this. We have an opening montage of Aquaman breaking down all things like that have happened to him since Aquaman 1 to his son, essentially, and us, the audience. What do you think about this opening?
Yeah, didn't really need it.
No,
I mean, I get it. I get why they put it in there. You get the understanding. Oh, hey, like my life sucks now. I mean, it doesn't, but it does. I'm a king, but I'm also a dad, and yada yada yada. That could have been exposition that we had to like him talking to his dad or him talking to some the him talking to the new vizier or the
hmm
new mentor in Atlantis because we find out. I mean, it's later, but we find out in one line that Volko is dead,
Well, I'm
which
glad.
makes sense because I never did like I forgot that Willem Dafoe was in the first one, and he was I didn't see him in any of the promotions in for this
No,
one.
in for this one, yeah, and he was in Zack Snyder's Justice League as well.
Yeah,
Just that was the last time we saw him. Joe, I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to speak about that because that goes to something that was a little frustrating to me. Hi, Iggy, how you doing? Uh,
hey,
I, I, I what was really frustrating was Volko died from the plague, which is something they talked about
not the
at this.
plague, like the poison or
They
the
call it the
world.
plague.
Did they call it the plague?
Yes, they called it the plague. That was one of the things that was happening before. That didn't have anything to do with Black Manta, and I don't know what that was. And they never
No,
went
no, no,
back
no.
to it.
No, it was he because they said that after the 5 months. So
No,
after
I thought
Black
they said that
Manta,
prior to saying
nope,
that he.
no, because it was at the council that told him about it, and it was he didn't really. I
Yeah,
mean,
you're right.
you
You're
saw
right. You're
him
right. You're
talking to
right.
the
You're right.
council in
You're
the
right. You're right.
beginning.
You're right. They
Yeah,
didn't show anything of that. They didn't show any
no,
people turning
just
into the undead. And like, what was the plague?
well,
What? Like,
they
how
weren't
did
turning into the
Volko
undead; they're
die?
just dying.
Yeah, and how? Like they didn't show anything from that. That was so confusing, and they never went back to it. It was something that
Nope.
was spoke
Well, again,
about, and
it was a throwaway line to excuse why Willem Dafoe wasn't in this movie.
yes, and but you make it about more than that because you say the plague is spreading. Like this is this kingdom now. Like that's what the council is saying there in the first council meeting. Which again, that's another thing they added here that took away time, and I got nothing out of this other than they didn't like Aquaman as king.
Yeah, they at one point they were talking to him saying we promoted Orm to Ocean Master so that he could take the fight to
Surface.
the surface world. And I'm like, I just watched the first movie.
Yep.
First off,
None.
you guys were never there.
You didn't
Second off,
exist.
yeah, he was trying to gain the Seven Kingdoms, which they definitely talked about Seven Kingdoms.
Multiple times.
Well, actually, I guess they did say that the land in the desert was lost, and so it makes sense.
Mhm.
Um, Lost Kingdom here, but like he never brought up a council at
No.
all. So like, I he officially never got the title of Ocean Master technically in the first movie because he didn't actually unite the kingdoms under his rule.
Yeah.
So
And
I think
then
you're
wouldn't
a little off there,
Aquaman's
council.
title be out Ocean Master then because he did unite the kingdoms? But
Technically, it would be.
I digress there. Yeah, Joe,
Yeah.
it was that was a little confusing to me and just took up time because I do feel like this film should have been 2.5 hours, maybe 3. That would have been a bit more time to explain some of these things, show some of these things. We get a
See,
infiltration in a little bit where we see none of that. Like we could have seen so much more of that. and I found that went by so quick. So there's times where I feel like this could have used time to breathe. I know you couldn't get vocal back, but uh, my God, we had Joker. You could have shown him Joker in Birds of Prey. You didn't need to show him. You could just show him blown up or something.
You could have shown Joker at the end of. Whoa! Oh, you said Birds of Prey. Sorry, I was
Yeah.
thinking Suicide Squad. Never mind.
No, I was just having like you could have shown something for him getting blown up or anything different than here. I just again where this was the last one, it just felt like
Yeah, but he never got
it was
blown
more
up.
of an
She just blew it back
obligation.
me.
And the other thing I wanted to say, we didn't see much of James Wan's horror element compared to the first one, like with the trench. We didn't see
Yeah,
anything like that in this. And again,
I
like I
feel
said,
like
I
the
feel like
Lost Army was supposed to be that,
there could be
which
some
they
cuts
were
to this
creepy.
too. I feel like there could be some cuts to this, like scenes and
I
stuff
mean,
where we could have saw some more creepy things, and it just was cut out for time. That definitely could have been a possibility because 2 hours is a way to get it into multiple screens a day too. So uh, I just wish it was longer. Like the first one was 2.5 hours, and I wish it was a little bit longer. So just because I wanted more time to breathe with some of these moments that we didn't get.
okay.
Yeah. So, like I said, he basically wraps up where he's to, and then we get to find out what Black Manta has been up to, Joe, the villain of this film, and he's looking for Atlantean tech, and Doctor Stephen Shin has led him up to the Arctic.
One thing I did like is he's looking for this Atlantean tech to fix his suit,
Yeah,
and like you see a broken helmet sitting
yeah,
there. Like
yeah,
I did enjoy that. Like this is his motivation. He wants to find all the stuff, and yeah, we get Shin joining. At this scene, they're in the Arctic. He is on this landmass, and he's with somebody where the stuff starts pinging,
hmm
and the mass starts cracking, and they fall into this crack, and they end up finding inadvertently the Lost
yes,
Kingdom.
yes, and not well the almost the Last Kingdom because we really get to see
Oh
that.
yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah,
This wasn't.
this is like the door
It's like
or
the outskirts
the
or something.
the outskirts of it, like part of the well, essentially where the tomb is. So yeah, but Joe's right, and this is some stuff I really did enjoy. Where when they fell down here, that was a bit of scary element to see that Matzer come out and take the other helper of Shin. I enjoyed that,
One thing that
and
really, I don't say bugged me, but one thing that really I call into question is when Manta does show up, and Shin's just like, "There's something here. There's a monster here. Like you don't want to go into that tunnel." And Manta's like, "Of course I'm gonna go in there." And then we see him wish like Shin with him, like it's not a big deal. Like
yeah,
you were
like he
just
was like
scared. You were scared shitless 2 seconds ago, my dude. Like,
yeah.
why are you now okay with coming in here?
And again, I feel like there was another scene because, like, how do you get from there to there? We didn't see anything else. Like, uh, I don't know, Joe. This seems like there might have been a few cuts to this to get a little bit extra, to lose a little bit extra, like save a bit of time. Because I feel like there's a little bit more elements to some of these scenes that we're not getting.
Okay. Like, I
Just
mean, did you want to see Manta going across all of the Arctic to go and find where this ping is, or
no, I didn't want to see that. I just wanted to, like, how did we get from him being scared to him joining the group? There's no anything in
oh, okay.
between. Like, I felt like there
Yeah,
would have been a
there was a scene with Manta's like, buckle up, like what did it say, suck it up or whatever. Like
not even
you
a
got to come along.
scene, not even a scene, like even like a 20 seconds of him being left there as they go along and him hearing something and him getting up and scurrying to them. Even that is okay to me. Like
Okay.
just give me a read because like you set him up when they're speaking to him, he's like, there's something back there, and he's terrified. Only way that's going to work for me for him to get up and follow him immediately is just show me as they start to walk away him hearing some loud noise because we see this again later on down the line when he asks him like, okay, yeah, sure, you can leave, like go out into that jungle to see how long you last yourself, and he's like, okay, guess I'm here. So we already got the
Yeah.
elements of this guy being that way. Just let me hear a loud noise. It doesn't even really have to
Okay.
be
I can
anybody. like a crack in
can
the
agree with you
ice
on that
even,
one.
and him getting up and taking off. That again, that's stuff that I wish we saw. It doesn't like hurt the overall film. It's just a little annoying to me to go from completely terrified to you're with the group and what how why like and you picked up on that too. I'm really glad that you noticed that because I thought I was like, did I miss the did I not like did I misremember the start part here where he
Yeah,
was terrified or
but no, I see what you're saying now. Like, okay, I can back you on this one. Something quick
yeah,
to
just something,
motivate
anything.
him to
Yeah.
go.
Because
Yeah,
again, we're just caught in this like I'm terrified, okay, and we're gonna go see what's there. Why is he gonna follow him completely to what he just saw to make him terrified? And again, he's an ancillary character, but you gotta keep things consistent here. You just don't have him terrified then, just have him scared, like just have him hiding, being like, there's a monster back here, like I don't have anything, no weapons or anything like that. But again, that's not the main prize here. The main prize is the monster, and I did enjoy the reveal and the fight here. That was pretty cool. What do you think about this, Joe? That ended up with Manta getting the Black Trident.
if I'm being honest, it kind of I've already like it.
Bit of a
I'm
tussle. He gets sent.
sure it was a great fight. There's other things that I really enjoyed more than just this beginning part. Like him grabbing the trident was and finding it was interesting. Although I'm also kind of questioning if this is why I question if there was the Lost Kingdom itself, because we see in the backstory later on when
Atlan
the Atlan
and Cortex.
kills Cortex, well, kills him, freezes him. Like he cut off his hand, and the trident is there
He
on the
shatters the
ground.
trident. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm sure he just kind of tossed it down and walked away. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
not hit it or anything, not like that they did with the mother box or anything like that. Uh, Frank MX says, if you like the first Aquaman film, I don't know why you shouldn't like this movie. It felt like a direct follow up. I didn't feel that way as much, Frank. I thought that this was a bit of a messy story compared to the first one. First one was a nice adventure. We got to see more elements of it. Uh, but again, if you like this film, there's no fault
I
here.
liked it, Frank,
Joe did as well. So, Joe, like I said, Black
and it'll
Manta
show in my rankings later.
has the power. He's ready to take on Aquaman. Uh, so Cordax promises him that he'll give him power, and I must say that was a damn cool shot. We've already seen it in the trailers where Black Manta is standing above and all Aquaman's family, and him is just decked out in front of him.
I mean, misconceiving because we thought that scene in the trailer was a scene that, I mean, it happens, but we thought that was a scene that we were going to see like play out, but not a scene in a dream.
No,
But
and
that's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with that.
same. Now, this is a little bit of problem I had with the film as well. We go to 5 months later, and Black Manta attacks Atlantis and is breaking in to get some
He
now
doesn't attack.
a rich
He
column. He tries to go in covertly, but here's the problem I have.
Aurikium.
Aurikium. Here's the
I
problem
don't
I
know.
have with
Auricorum?
this, Joe.
Oh,
I wanted to see a little bit of this. Black Manta assembles a whole goddamn army, a whole fleet, whole ships, everything, and we see nothing of how he did any of that. We get a couple lines of dialogue from Shin saying he re-engineered the ships and stuff,
yeah.
but
They found it all when they found the Lost
where'd
Kingdom.
you
Like
find
that's
all these guys? Where'd you find all these people? Because they're not Last Kingdom people.
no, they aren't. But he also had a team of people when they were looking. Like this is the same team that when they were looking for the stuff before.
Everybody's trained. Everybody's properly trained in all these ships, and they're ready to go. It's just,
They had
eh,
5 months.
I guess you're right, Joe. They have 5 months,
If you have 5 months and your boss is telling you you're going to learn this or I'm
or are
going to
going to
kill
kill.
you,
You're going to
you're
damn
going to
learn it.
learn it. Okay.
You're going to damn learn it. Yeah. So Black Manta has one gigantic ship and some smaller ships as well. And like Joe said, he's trying to do not start a war or go to war. He's trying to break in covertly to steal the power cells. I'm going to call them. That
You want to try to call it or Callum?
or a column or a critium, whatever
I
it's
can't
called.
remember. I can't remember what they called it or how
I'm
they
just gonna
pronounced
call
it.
it the power cells
Okay.
that the Last Kingdom used to use. So yeah, and the Atlantis has them stored away because they emit greenhouse gases, and they have no way to destroy them. And this is one of the elements of if Aquaman could get his way, because at this point Aquaman is harping about like surface could help them find a way to like get rid of this stuff. Wayne Tech, anybody? I feel like Wayne Enterprises could have helped.
I think
Uh,
this was the moment
yeah,
where Aquaman turned to Bruce Wayne to be like, "Hey, what can you do?" Well, either this moment or later when they need to try and find Black Manta. I think it's
yeah.
probably more that. But yes,
The only other time I could see it is at the very end where if he introduces him to the council, the UN council.
see, I don't think. See, I'll
He had a
disagree on that
suit
one.
on, so that's why I'm just going to guess that. That's the only thing. He had on his Bruce Wayne suit. That's
Okay.
it. Might have been a little different too. Maybe that whole like yay,
Well,
maybe.
that, and I'm wondering, and it's very possible that that UN speech at the end was added later.
Hmm.
It could have been something a completely different scene.
Yeah,
So who knows?
yeah.
We'll never know because they're not. It's not like they're gonna release these on Blu-ray and DVD with these scenes intact.
No, we're not going to get that kind of stuff. We wouldn't get any bonus scenes from 2017's Justice League. So,
Yeah, I don't want any of that shit though.
no, but I mean, like they had a whole load of stuff in the can there. They didn't give us any on
Well,
the.
they did in 2020. It's called Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying, like when you're not making giving Leah scenes
Yeah.
on a bonus disc, no way.
I just want the scenes in Flash and in this where it actually tied into the multiverse or the universe as a whole. Like I
Yes,
want the connectivity.
yes,
That's been my gripe.
gun. You got the DCU. Like DCU is not going forward. Give us those couple scenes. Like drop them. Let us see them. Yeah.
Anyway,
So they're there to pull a heist, Joe, and that's what they get ready to do. I did enjoy this scene.
this was a
A
good
lot.
scene. I didn't.
A
I
lot.
like this. The battle because Manta's team gets found out pretty quick while they're trying to steal and sneakily steal the stuff. Um, they get found out what's going on, and so obviously you got Mira and Atlanta and Aquaman all
Aquaman
trying to
shows
stop
up
them.
at the end and is very like
Um,
again nice save, enjoyable. Mara has a moment where she's good tracking them down using her powers. We don't see much
and
of
can
her in this film. Do you
well
want to talk about that
see,
now, or
I think we did. I think I felt like we
she
saw a
didn't
lot more
say
of
much?
her.
Story. She didn't say much.
Fair, but I
Yeah,
still think we saw a lot more of her in this movie than I was expecting. Like
same.
I was expect,
I,
especially right
I just
here.
thought she talked more. That's all. She only had like I think it was like
That's,
13 lines of dialogue or 13 words or
yeah,
something. She didn't
I
speak
don't feel like
much.
counting.
And again, we'll talk about one of the. When we get to this scene, we'll get to the scene. I'll hold it.
Okay, but
Uh,
but this is the moment when she is, trying to stop Manta
yeah,
as she gets attacked. Like Manta uses his beam on her, and she's like when she's shown, her body is injured. Like her suit is
yeah.
getting burned. Like at this moment, I thought, oh, the reason we're not going to see her for the rest of the movie,
She
she's in the
did.
hospital.
Yeah.
Well,
He
I
looked like he was
didn't
gonna kill
think
her, sorry.
dead.
So I was
Oh
just like,
yeah, 100%.
Is he killing her?" Because we got that moment where she's pounding on the glass, and I thought that
Yeah.
was because I can't remember seeing anything else. Actually, no, I do. No, I don't remember seeing anything
No,
else.
that was the only scene in the trailers,
Yeah.
in any of the trailers of her. So you automatically think she's not going to be in the movie. But we also knew that with the trailers, this could be a potentially a buddy cop movie with Orm and Arthur, which it
And
was.
Aquaman swoops in, saves Mira, fights Black Manta for a bit, but he gets stopped by the new
They had a
gun. They have Sonic
yeah,
Ray.
yes,
Yes, a Sonic Ray or Sonic Disruptor. Sonic Disruptor, I think it's called.
Sonic Disruptor.
And that immobilizes any of the swimming Atlanteans. It hits their nervous system, and they're down. Uh, I did. I gotta say, I enjoyed this little battle, and Black Manta getting away. It's nice, and we find out that There's only one way to figure out where Black Manta's going. They have no leads to get turned to Orm, which we obviously knew was going to happen.
Yeah.
What do you think about all the objection? I'm shocked that even the mother was hesitant to let out Orm, considering how nice she was to him when he surrendered there at the end of
Sure,
last film.
but the man did start a war with
Yeah.
the Seven Kingdoms, that could have ravaged the Seven Kingdoms. So, like,
She was like, just make sure you tell him I love him, and I think about him all the time. Don't worry, man, I'll tell him. And at some point he does. But yeah, I was happy. I'm excited. I love Orm as a character. I was excited to see Patrick Wilson. And I did like how Aquaman had to do this covertly, because he is not apparently he's still
Well-
person non grata. He killed one of the kings of one of the kingdoms. He cannot be found. There was an agreement with the fisherman people, I think it was called,
the Fishman people, yeah,
to hold him.
because
So
yeah, he killed their king, so they're holding him hostage, and they sent him to the kingdom or this prison in the desert,
mhm.
and the creatures that were watching him. I mean, I don't know where, like, they weren't in the Sahara
No,
because I
and
mean it was a desert,
they were
sure, but like,
they were eating like the ground, and it was wild.
that's
That was
interesting.
that there was a couple things there. I really enjoyed some of the chases there. It was hard to keep up with Orm and Arthur when they were uh, on those beasts. One thing I didn't enjoy was it was a little bit too much slapstick for me, especially Arthur. I found Arthur was wrote a little bit more broy than he was in the first film. Just more high
See, I think it's
fives,
just
or is that just
see, I think
Momoa
it's
being
just Jason
Momoa?
Momoa coming through.
Okay, that's
Like,
just Momoa being
I
Momoa.
think it's just Momoa. Because did he have a producer credit on this? I
I
don't think he
think
did.
so. I think so.
Did
Or
he?
yeah, I think so. I think he was a bit more integral part of this.
Okay.
So the guys find out that the gas Black Manta is emitting is harming the environment too. Is wait, I didn't know. Yeah, no, that's right.
You're good.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's ruining the earth. It's accelerating the climate change. And I do think that that was the hidden, deeper meaning of this film. Was the energy source is essentially oil. The Last Kingdom is more like America and their oil like dominance power. I thought there was a couple meanings to that.
This is my surprise face. It
Yeah.
looks just like my normal face.
So I thought that was kind of cool to highlight there, and to have this emit strong greenhouse gases. Uh, so they need to find out where Black Manta's hiding, and they go see they go see the kingfish, Joe, and I think he was played by Martin Short, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
that's what I was told. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you think about
this
this?
was,
Yeah.
eh.
Yeah. This was a whole lot of
Like,
mid for me.
this was a scene where I'm like, okay, you're gonna get the information, and the way they get the information is once Arthur, after punching a couple guys, grabs a helmet that has oxygen and it, puts it on this kingfisher's head, and then
And
like starts to pump oxygen into it, and basically saying like, all right, so if you don't tell me where you might find Orm, you're gonna die. You're gonna suffocate, I guess.
yeah.
Um, I mean, it was fine. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't. I could have done without it. Again,
Yeah.
this could have been another scene where I think this is a scene where they originally went to uh
A darker,
to
scarier place, maybe.
well no, to Batman first, to Bruce Wayne, and because there's also a bit of a jump here,
Yeah.
because once we get Arthur and Orm leaving the desert, I guess it was more of a beach because there was water.
It seems like it's a jump
Like,
from from this
it was
point
it was a
to
scene where next time we see them, they're in a boat, going along. Orm has now cut his hair and he
yeah.
has shaved his beard, and it looked like he had a 5 o'clock shadow from this point on. If I'm being honest, which I'm like, if you just cut your beard off, why do you look like you need to shave again? So I'm wondering if there was a scene here between these two scenes where they went and talked to Bruce Wayne to be like, hey, can you track this down? We're really looking for Black Manta. Because I don't know if it's here or if it's when they get to the island where it's like, well, we couldn't find the island. It's whatever Manta's doing is hiding it.
Heat shielding is hiding it from thermal imaging, is what
But
uh,
like, if you just
I think
happen
they
to
said.
look and this giant pillar of green smoke is coming out of this volcano, that's
Eventually,
not normal.
eventually somebody's going to see that, especially like if you go by this in this universe where Amanda Waller's sending like Superman over to investigate Black Adam.
Exactly. Like you're telling me this island was wiped off of every scope ever.
That's the
Come on.
problem because Juan tries to play some of this like it's just Aquaman in his own universe and there's nothing else. But it's when you're 15, 16 movies deep,
And
that stuff doesn't
that's the
work.
other. Well, no, because if you go look at the MCU, and that stopped working phase 2.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it immediately stopped working, and they had to shift their works to make everybody accessible if they needed them to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when like phase 3 worked like it did,
Yep.
and it was wonderful.
So the guys find out that they have to go to Volcanic Island in South Pacific, and before we talk about them in that exchange, we'll take our second ad break of the evening. Listeners, we're an ad-supported network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe, we're into Act 2 now. They're on the island. And what do you think about
This
this?
was fun. I mean, the interactions that they had with each other, I really enjoyed. Because it's Arthur trying to reach Orm. Like he's actually trying to get to know his brother for the most part. Like, yes, he's going about it in probably the worst way possible, considering what happened.
Mhm.
The last time they met. But like they were having fun. They had a good time. You had the whole like he was also picking on him with the whole cockroach scene and the whole like fruit that he was gonna because it already looked bad. He's like, oh yeah, have this fruit. This is great. This is a delicacy in on land. But obviously that didn't pan out. But then you had the giant grasshoppers that were chasing them, which was kind of fun, sort of.
I enjoyed this, but it still just reminded me of stuff like Kong, Skull Island,
Hmm.
things like that. I was expecting to see more bugs. I think it was kind of a chance for James Wan to flex his muscle, but ultimately all became humorous. Like I didn't have any stakes at all. It didn't feel.
So
It felt more humorous to me, but I jump on what you said. The brother interactions is Arthur trying to get true to Orm. Like
yeah,
when you put it like that to me, it kind of made me think about it a little bit more.
okay.
So the brother,
Hopefully this discussion will maybe raise up your score.
it
Uh,
might, it might, it
it
might.
might.
We'll see, we'll
But
see.
so I've got a question though, because I know the kingfish explained something about this, but I may have not heard it. Because then it doesn't make sense. So at the outside, on the outskirts of the island, everything was normal. As they
Mhm.
got closer, that's when like the bugs and the plants and those giant rats, like everything started getting huge
Yeah, the
because of
flora and fauna,
the gases,
greenhouse
right?
gas they were emitting. Yes, the
Or
green.
this elemental power, I
Yeah,
should say, because it really
yeah.
wasn't the gas. The gas is what's killing people on or making people on around the world sick. But here, everything's making these plant life and bug life bigger. Why didn't it affect anybody in the mountain, in the base?
I think that's more of a you had to be there for a long time. I didn't think it was the people. Well, or you could do the heat shielding thing where
They
they're
were there 5
shielded from.
months.
Yeah, where you're shielded from thermal imaging. You don't have to be outside. That's why when they see them, when they see them, they're wearing the suits when Arthur and Orm arrive, and the people
But
are
not all of
like,
them.
The
Shin
patrolling,
wasn't. Manta
no,
wasn't.
the people patrolling, not the people inside the volcano, which is heat shielded from everything going on the outside. Black Manta makes a very quick comment about that at some point in the film, that is heat shielded away from thermal imaging, or maybe it might be a worm. I'm not sure. Somebody makes a comment about it, so I just took that as the inside is safe.
I wish if I'm being honest, I wish I would have got a second viewing of this.
Yeah,
I only got to see it the one time,
yeah,
and I will watch it again when it comes out on Max
yeah.
or
This will not be a second
Netflix
theater
or
viewing for me.
Tubi or whatever it's all on
Netflix
now.
Canada or or Amazon
Yeah,
Prime.
Amazon. Yeah, like I'll watch this again at some point in time.
I guess
But
eventually Paramount Plus, right? You couldn't help
maybe
myself there. I couldn't
no,
help
that's
myself.
fair. That's fair. No, like there was, and this is where some of the dialogue was getting kind of. Maybe I wasn't hearing it correctly, or maybe I
No,
just didn't
think
hear
you were
it at
both.
all.
Think
It got a little like wonky.
yeah, you're not wrong here, Joe. Some of that kind of right now. I did
But
enjoy the
this is
whole
also,
building bridges. King builds
I
bridges.
mean, yeah, but we got that in the trailer.
Yeah, I liked him bringing it back at the end. I did. I liked Orm
Yes,
bringing it back at
yes.
the end there. Yeah.
But the
So
one thing we did start seeing here though was Korvax taking over Black Manta.
yeah,
It was, I thought this scene was cool. The first time we see him talking to Korvax in the mirror, like I thought
yes.
that was a really cool scene.
Especially when you see Korvax disappear and you see Chin there watching him, and he's like shuts the thing, and so you can go back to the conversation because Korvax won't appear unless he's there
Yeah,
by
but you
himself.
also get Shin watching him from that same corner like 5 different times. I mean, it was like
Yeah,
two or
that kind of
three,
went on a
but
little
like that
bit.
was, it got a little like, not, I don't want to say slapsticky, but it got a little like they're trying too hard to give the
I would have
exposition
took more of the Last
he's.
Kingdom
Oh yeah.
than Shin struggling for half this film. It should do
Oh
the
no,
right
no. Like
thing. And
I'm okay with like Shin struggling. I understand. It's the Shin seeing Black Manta David going crazy, being controlled by Korvax, where we saw that, like, you need two scenes. We saw it here with
I felt
the
like
one
Shin was
talking to him
used
in the
too
mirror,
much.
and there was another one that we needed. Like, other than that, we didn't need it 4 different times.
I felt like Shin was used too much, and I could not. I was shocked to see his
Really?
fate. See his fate. Yeah, just a little bit too much for me, and I was shocked to see his fate. I thought, uh, I did not think he
Hmm.
was. I did not think he was gonna skate off of this,
Well,
but he
let's
managed
be
to.
honest. There was a lot of things a lot of people we thought weren't going to make in this movie that did.
Not a whole lot of stakes there, Joe. When it comes to that.
No, no,
Yeah,
it kind of undercut a lot of that, which is some of my problems I had with this.
I will say I've really enjoyed when Black Manta comes out and they're fighting Black Manta, Orm and Arthur together, and Orm grabs the Dark Trident and sees the vision. I thought that was so well done, effect wise,
Yes,
everything. I got to give that 10 out of 10. Everything to do with every person that grabbed it, even Shin who
even
grabbed
Shin.
it.
Yeah,
Yep, every person who grabbed it, I thought that was a great effect. I really enjoyed them seeing it, and every person's performance after holding it, I thought was great.
yeah, because later on, when Orm is describing what everything is, what the Black Trident is, who Corvex is, what the city of was it Necros
Necros,
was, and you had what Dolph Lundgren's character. I can't remember what his name was.
Nearest.
Thank you.
Yeah,
He's just like, what are you talking about? Like, that's not true. Like, those records are there's no records of a lost kingdom. Like, that's impossible. It's like, yeah, no, I saw it when I grabbed the trident. The trident told me everything, and it's like I've got no reason not to believe this, which I thought was really cool. I thought it was a really good way to explain who what's his name, what Codex was, and why he's doing what he's doing. Because you had Atlan, who killed him, went to war with him because he was using these gases, destroying the world long ass time ago before Atlantis fell, and he's like, Atlan knew what was wrong, and he's like, you can't do this Like, you're my brother. You need to stop. No, I'm not gonna do it. Like, I like that. That was really good.
And I will say I did like too where Arthur and Orm are talking when they're in this jungle, and Arthur's like, "Yeah, I didn't want to be king. Like, I don't want to be it. Like, I was never after your throne, your birthright." And Orm's like, really? You never pined for it? You never wanted it?" And Arthur's like, "No." Like, he's like, "My father trained me for the day when you would
Mm-hmm.
eventually come to take this." And he's like, "That's really sad, man."
Yeah.
So again, I will like some of these seeds are planted for the payoff at the end of the act three, but like you said, there's some stuff here that I have issues with. But anything to do with the Black Trident is not one of them. I thought, like I said, it was great the way that effect was, and I did enjoy some of the bigger creatures in that little island. Uh, yeah, so we know now what Black Manta's plan is. He's going to free Korax, sorry, and he needs the royal blood to do that.
Yep.
Orm's like, "Yeah, me, you, or mom," and Arthur's like, "Oh shit, that's not the only one." He is going to get Baby Junior, and
This was another good scene when the power goes out and Tom Curry is
James
like,
Wan, James Wan. That's when I was like, "Oh
yeah,
damn, James Wan! Is this a
yeah,
James Wan movie again?" Yeah, yeah. It was
yeah,
time,
because
but
yeah,
I will say,
Tom goes to get a flashlight and because it's all dark,
can I say
and
one thing
we
here? As a dad, as a dad, as a
go ahead.
dad, you would never. I love you, Pop. In this film, I love you, Pop. You would never leave the baby on the couch in a blackout without no attendance. Completely just sat there. He could roll off, fall off. He's a big enough baby.
Sure,
Now,
but
also, he's a
he's also
half Atlantean. So,
well that, but
or
also it's literally no one around for miles.
quarter.
Like, what's you think you're safe?
You gotta pick it up. You gotta pick up the baby though. Your baby's not safe leaving it on the couch. Just
No, look,
sorry, as someone with a
my ex-wife put my daughter on the couch one time and she rolled off and hit the ground. It's totally fine.
oh, I'm saying you might not be totally fine after roll-offs here, but again, Dad 101. That's the first thing I thought when
Yeah.
Grandpa left there. Like, no, we don't leave the kid there. Pick him up. But also glad he didn't pick him up because, yeah, like Joe said, Black Manta's waiting, stabs him, and says he's going to leave him there to die in front of Arthur, and takes
Yeah.
Junior. And then this is another problem I have. We immediately like cut to Arthur arriving right away. There's no like you travel all this way in that amount of time. What are we watching Game of Thrones here? But you
Yeah,
just cut
basically.
quickly. There's no like
Well, you stay right away. I mean, the house, the lighthouse was kind of half burned down, so
well, yeah, he comes out.
it took some time.
Thomas comes out as Arthur gets there. He collapses, finds out Junior's token, and then we get this is
One
the
thing,
thing where I
one
cringe.
thing that Geekverse talked about was like Mira being the only one that really cared about the kid, about Arthur Jr.
No,
Well, because like you got Arthur, you've got Atlan, uh, who or I'm sorry, Atlanta, who
yeah,
immediately run to um Tom
yeah,
to Thomas
Timo.
Curry, and then you've got Orm standing there like, the fuck's going on? And then of course Mira is like, where's my kid? What happened to my baby?
Where's Junior? He's like, Manta took Junior. And yeah, it's just it just seems like she's the only one that cares, and she's like screaming, and you're just like, well, the audience is Orm in this case. You're like, just looking around like, what is this? Like,
Yeah, like
what's going on here?
why do I care about this guy?
Just
He's just some random person.
especially when Atlanta sends him off to go get the baby. I'm like, you're wasting valuable time here. Like holding them for so long, and it's like, okay, you got to get out of here. I'm like, okay, mom, like, you know, like let him take off. You're going after your grandkid. Uh, I obviously I'm just being humorous about that. That didn't bother me when I was
Sure.
watching the film, but
But then at the same time, it's also one of those things where like I feel like Thomas Curry was mortally wounded. Like he looked like he passed out almost. He looked like he was
yeah,
about to die. And then the next scene is him being all wrapped up or all like bandaged up and breathing. And
Atlantean
it's
back.
like, oh yeah, no, he's gonna be fine.
Hmm.
It's like,
No stakes in this one, Joe. No stakes in this film.
Should have had stakes. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. Again, Arthur's got out of DCU the best of any of the heroes. I will say that for
Right?
sure. Uh, I did like how Shin helps them find out where they're going by sending a transmission after he sees Black
Oh
Manta with
yeah,
the baby. He's like, "Yeah, we're gone
we
too far."
we forgot the point in the mountain when Shin like gives up. He's like, yeah, no, I these guns will actually hurt you.
Yeah,
I'm giving up. Like, I just wanted to see Atlantis, and I did, but David is going way too far, and he's gone crazy. Something's happened to him.
yeah. He
Um,
said
one
with the
thing I really
Trident.
found it. One thing I really found interesting is when the lieutenant, I guess I don't know what her name was, like blows up the door to that little area, sending Arthur and Orm through, and then the fight with Manta and all that, and her. Um, the other men, it looked like they were grabbing Shin to take him like prisoner. Um, Originally, that's what I thought. I'm like, oh, they knew
Same,
he was
same,
turning
same,
sides.
same.
But then, like next we see him, they're dragging him along because he was injured. I'm like, do they not?
I
Okay,
have
so
a
they don't
problem with this
realize.
too when we get a little tiny bit further.
But
With
that's what I'm
this,
saying because
with
that's
yeah,
I bring that up because right here at this scene when Shin is seeing Manta losing it because he's holding a knife to a baby. It's like,
yeah.
and he's already kind of questioned Manta a few different times.
Well, Manta
You
told
know,
him if he takes out this knife again, pray that you don't have to take this knife out again to him, because he was objecting about the greenhouse
every
gas.
every time I take this knife out, it needs blood. It's like,
Yeah,
you sure about that? Because I could have swore I saw it in like the first movie, and it definitely didn't have blood on it, my dude.
and especially you just took it out for the baby and he didn't do anything with it. So like, let's
Yeah,
stop claiming this is some big thing. But
don't don't bullshit a bullshitter.
he does he sends out the single here, and they know what's happening, Joe, and now we're going to get a big battle, the big battle scene of the final act. What do you think about the final act here, Joe?
Pretty cool. These creatures were really, excuse me, really good looking. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of that was practical,
Yeah,
but no, I really liked it.
I
I mean,
enjoyed it. It's
just
probably
a
my favorite part of the
battle
film.
scene with these people. Yeah.
Probably my favorite
Okay.
part of the film. I did enjoy this. It's more because we saw a lot of this in the first film of the giant battles in Atlantis. So it's not like I did see our friend of the network, well, part of the network, Brant say like this reminds him of Ant-Man Quantumania. People have problems with that. They probably have problems with this. I was more so used to this from the first film, whereas the Ant-Man films were more self-contained heist films. So that's was a little bit more for me in Quantumania, even though I enjoyed the hell of that film for what it was. But again, I'm used to the battle. This isn't as big in scale as the first film for me in terms of so many things going on at once. Like there's a more of
Okay.
a smaller group, you know what I mean? Like you got the group
Yeah.
infiltrating, and yes, you got a lot of things coming at them, but it's not like the first film where Aquaman is tagging with these ragtag parts of the like kingdom fighting against like Zibble and other like a couple other kingdoms, and you just see
Yeah.
like
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
like laser beams from both sides. Like there's not as much here. It's more one side shooting and one side using horror, like to take like to fight you. So I enjoyed that more than the big battle in the first film.
There were two scenes in this where I laughed and the other one I was like, okay, interesting. First one was when they are gearing up and
Hmm.
Nereus is handing out guns and it gets to Orm and like the music is swelling for everything. And then Orm walks up and the music like dies. And and Nereus is like,
Gives him a
hands him an
hatchet.
axe. Yeah.
It's a hatchet.
And
It's
then
not even an axe. It's so small.
the second scene is literally the hatchet comes back and actually helps because Nereus, whoever the hell his name is, I can't remember his name, Dolph
Nearest.
Lundgren, is being dragged down by the octopus arm thing. And though he's screaming for help, and the one person to pop his head over is Orm, and he gives that wry smile of like, yeah, you did this to yourself, and he pulls back. I'm like, I know he's gonna go help. I know he's gonna go help,
I
and
was
he
like, you
does.
better go help, you dick. You better go help. Is what I was thinking. I was like, don't
But that's
throw
the other
everything
thing.
away.
Like, he is the whole movie for Orm has been not not just retribution, but paying his debts. Like, he knew what he did was wrong, and he's going to pay. Like, he's being punished. He's going to be punished. He's asking for forgiveness. He's going to do everything he can to get that. But he, in his heart of hearts, he felt what he was doing was right. So when he finds out that Arthur didn't want the throne, he doesn't care for it. It's like, oh, so you were not out to get me. You challenged, and Arthur even tells him, like, I didn't care for that. Like, I challenged you because you were going to attack the surface world, and you were being a dick.
He's like,
Like,
if basically you still be king if you weren't a dick about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that kind of gave Orm a like, well, shit. Like, I guess I need to rethink everything.
He's
So
like,
like when he does see
all this stuff would not have happened to me if I would have just had one conversation.
100%,
One conversation.
100%.
Just been like,
I just
hey,
talked
bro.
to my brother.
Hey, big bro. I'm your little bro. Can we be friends? Yeah, sure. Let's have a beer. Let's have a Guinness. Bam.
Yeah, yeah,
Friends. You keep the kingdom. You can be Ocean Master.
yeah.
Just
Just
don't just don't attack the
we'll
surface
unite the
world.
kingdoms, but just we'll do it this way. Like I think he realized that what he did was wrong, because he even said, once I'm done helping you, once we can take down Manta and we stop this, I'll give myself up. I'll go back to Fishman and serve out my sentence. Like
Yeah, he
I
has
understand what I
honor.
did was wrong.
He has honor there, Joe,
Yeah,
and I did enjoy. You're right. He started to be different towards Arthur after he learned that bit of information,
yeah,
and you see him warming up to Arthur more and more throughout this film. That was probably my most enjoyable thing about this film, was Orm and Orm's relationship with Arthur and how it improved so much throughout this film. So I really really enjoyed that part of it. And again, the battle is huge. This is the problem I have with it, though. Like, this really hurts it for me is towards the end when you have Arthur go in. Black Manta's about to harm Junior. Arthur saves him. We get a fight, and how quickly Black Manta is tossed to the side here for Orm is something that is so frustrating to me, Joe. It's like, why would you do this to your main character that you're setting up this whole film for being a villain about? To have like vengeance is all about this. He's going to kill him for his father, and he jumps to Orm so quickly because he grabs the trident instead of trying to power up Black Manta. I was a little disappointed in the length of the fight between Black Manta and Aquaman. I wanted a little bit more for the final battle, especially final
sure,
DC
but
EU
this
Aquaman
would
Black
have been
Manta.
our third battle with them.
I wanted
Like,
more, like I wanted him to hurt him. I wanted like
oh, this was our
nobody.
third battle,
Again, it wasn't
technically.
like I was disappointed with how the ending turned out compared to
Okay,
how much I enjoyed most of the third act.
and that's fair. I agree with you on the basically throwing Black Manta aside.
Mhm.
Should not have happened.
Backing him
But
aside,
but
he
but
did it.
you also have the understanding of um Orm, because even when Kordax hops into him, he's like, "Oh, you hate Aquaman more than he did, than Manta does."
Impossible. Like impossible from what we saw and what we were built up. That's what and from what
But
we saw in the film too. Because if he hated him as much as Black Manta, he would have tried to screw him over at some point, and he never. We were never showing him having. You know how that works, Joe. For me, showing me for the first little bit, Orm having ideas of betraying Arthur. Show me a little bit of him thinking about it.
which, I mean, I guess you could argue that when he grabbed the gun from his prisoners or his jailers, like, you could argue that he had the thought of using it against Aquaman. Like, they lingered on it longer than they probably needed to. Um, there are moments, the scene with the kingfish, where it's like, hey, this is the only way I could agree to this is by chaining you up. Like, he's he's putting it seems like he's putting him in positions where Orm is against Arthur. But yes, I agree. He had definitely softened, and like I had said earlier, once he found out that Arthur didn't want the throne, he had no desire for the throne. He hates it actually. Then he's like, "Oh, well, I did everything wrong, and I need to basically
He
change my
even makes
way."
a face, Joe, of like
Like, really?
what?
Yeah,
Yeah, like really, like
it's. I can't sit there and say him hating Arthur more was a good line
yeah,
because Arthur did take everything away from him, so he does have reason. Like he took away his kingdom, his fiance, his life. Like I can see the argument of him having it more hatred, especially since I'm still a stickler for Black Manta's dad killed himself because he attacked Aquaman, and all Aquaman did was just bat the missile back and not save him.
the thing is with
Which,
like Black, we've been shown it a couple times, and we've shown it once. Black Manta said it multiple times about he does blame Aquaman for his father's
he
death. He's
does
just getting
100%.
vengeance. I would have been okay with the Orm thing a little bit more if Black Manta was incapacitated, but we're flashing back over to Black Manta who's trying to get up. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
okay. Like, just give me him like squat between two rocks, anything. Like, just give me something where he's like, okay, yeah, this is more opportune time for me. Let's grab this guy who's conflicted, but I can corrupt him. It's just, it just again, I would have liked that a little bit more where you're going for the whole film of them getting on track and being brothers. Obviously, Arthur grabs. I did enjoy this where Arthur grabs the Black Trident and they're both chatting about like like just give me the power, I can save you, and it
yeah,
takes
he's
a
able
while.
to convince. I don't say convince, but he's able to speak to Orm of like, look, you need to let go. This is corrupting you. You're not a bad guy.
hmm which I did
I
enjoy that.
I thought it was cool when he turns around and throws the trident at Cortex, who is finally unthawed and waking up, and he grabs it, and it's like, oh, that's pretty badass. But then we get the scene
Arthur throws
where
one trident through
Orm
another trident.
Orm, yeah, he basically Robin Hoods it, and I'm like, that just didn't work.
Yeah, like what, how
Because
you
I would
get
have,
rid of the two villains too, just dispatching them, backhand smack and then two trident
yeah, like
trident throws.
as much as we probably didn't need a final giant battle between Aquaman and Cortex, um, I think we probably should have had it.
You can't build this guy to be so bad and then just have him be dispatched so quickly, Joe. That was the thing.
Yeah,
That's just a no-no. Like, you especially you hijack Black Manta's villain story for a guy that stands up and then gets thrown off. I didn't enjoy that. I enjoyed the interaction between the two of them earlier on and the like viciousness and him Black Manta being possessed. I enjoyed that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
again, I feel like it got a little like messy there towards the end, and that was a very frustrating part because there was a way they could have stuck the landing, and I thought that was just a rough way to do things here. I
endings are hard, my dude.
Yeah, you are right about that. And
And yeah,
let's take our final ad break of the evening, Joe. Listeners, we're an ad support network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe, let's wrap up this because Cordax is dead now. Everything is starting to tumble, and Black Manta is like falling, like hanging on by a
the,
thread, about to fall into the abyss. Aquaman
yeah, I can't
goes,
remember if I can't remember if it opened up below him or if like something crashed down and opened up. Like he's falling down,
and Aquaman
which is
can
bad.
walk away if he liked. I love how you saw the green, like in the background too, from the power.
Yeah,
And Aquaman reaches his hand and save him, and Black Manta's like, hell no, and just falls back,
yeah.
and we get the death of
Like
Black Manta here.
this was a moment where Aquaman recognized, hey, I fucked over this guy before because of his dad. I'm gonna help him
And Black
because
Manta's basically
he's
like,
grown.
No DCU anymore. Giving middle fingers as he falls down through. My contract is
Yeah,
over.
this wasn't the greatest ending. Like, I think it would have been fine him falling into the abyss had he not like cracked his back on that giant pillow of ice that was sticking out.
Yeah.
Because then there could have been ambiguous. Like, did he die? Did he not die? We'll never know. He's dead. Like, his spine is broken.
Orm is
He's
dead.
not going anywhere.
Orm is dead. Or that's what
No.
they say as they all
Well,
get out, and they tell Orm that they're going to just say that Orm died fighting here, and there's no way to find a body here up in the Antarctic. And Orm is off to to live life. I did enjoy the back and forth he had with Arthur here. That
that was
was nice,
good.
nice and heartfelt. He brought back the King Bill's Bridges. Says, "Trust your gut. You're doing better than you think you are." I did, his most
Yeah.
heartfelt Orm has been the entire film.
Well, and it's like I think I said a few episodes back. Like, the Orm now isn't a villain. He's more of an
No,
anti-hero, and he's not even that anymore. He is just trying to do right by his land, and it just happens he's not doing the right thing sometimes.
yeah, that's pretty good breakdown there, Joe, of Orm. And we get the final thing here. Atlantis goes full Wakanda and shows himself to the world.
Yeah,
Uh, and we get the speech, Aquaman speaking at the
the
UN, and this
Iron
was
Man
a little
speech.
cringe. This is a little cringy for me, I must say. That was the I was like that's how we end, I guess.
And
And
again,
Aquaman
I wonder if this, like I think you said it earlier, if this ending was
a little different.
like more like they had to go back and film something else. Like,
Yeah, we could
I
be at a
don't know.
funeral for his son. Who knows? Juan had it first from some of the like talks of this being unwatchable and uh, for screenings, and then like going back and changing things. So I'm not sure. I did like the reveal of the ship, the Atlantean ship, to
Yeah, that
the
was cool.
military guys. That was kind of cool. But
You
again,
also, again, this is another thing where you wasted an opportunity to show Barry in Central City
mhm.
or Diana in Paris. Like,
Also shocked that we
come
didn't
on.
get a Wonder Woman cameo. Uh,
And I thought this is where it was going to be. I thought we were going to see Diana in Paris. This was a perfect moment.
Yeah,
But
but we're
no.
not getting that, Joe. The DCEU is dead. This ends the film, and then we get the mid-credit scene, Joe. And this is the final scene of the DCU's history. And it's Orm having a burger and fries, and then he puts the cockroach that he ate that Arthur convinced him was something that everyone eats on surface into the burger and enjoys the burger a little bit more. What do you think about this mid-credit scene?
Whatever.
I was disappointed I had to
I
wait.
laughed. Like, don't
Stood
get me
up.
wrong. I laughed. But, like,
I was
no,
disappointed. I
we
was
didn't
stood
need
up
it.
on the side just waiting for this to come in. I'm like, from everything Joe and Travis Snell said, this is not going to be like anything for me. And sure enough, I like I said, I chuckled, but that was it. That's it for DCU. DCU goes out with more of a thud than a triumphant ending.
No. It went out with a crunch.
A crunch, Joe. That's right. A buggy crunch. So,
Okay.
Joe, that's the end of the film. Uh, I gotta ask, what do you rate this out of 10 if you were gonna rate it?
So, because of where it's at in my rankings, and like I'm looking at my rankings, um, and I'll be honest, I don't remember any of my other like number ratings from any of the other films that we had covered, over the last year. So if you happen to remember that, just disregard all that because I don't remember that. I would probably give this, I want to say like a 7.4, 7.5. Like, I did enjoy this movie, but I didn't enjoy it more than the first one. Like, there are good elements in this that I really liked, but the first one just was blew it out of the water. One of the key points that really stuck it up there for me was the story between Orm and Arthur, was Black Manta. Like, all of that was great. I really enjoyed that. The action was great. So yeah, I'd say like a 7.4, 7.5.
Gives a solid 5 for me out of
Okay,
10.
that's
Uh,
fair.
I didn't enjoy the payoff for the Black Manta. I thought it was fumbled. The villain story was a bit uh, clued up at the end. To no stakes, nothing. Arthur comes out of this with two parents, kid, wife, no loss at all from Black Manta's revenge tour. So I was a little disappointed in that, Joe. And again, the story and the joke, some of the jokes just didn't work for me, and some of Arthur's humor, the stuff that did work for me was the brother stuff back and forth. Some of Black Manta's earlier stuff was enjoyable. And also a lot of the father son talks. I kind of enjoyed those
Okay.
as well. That's something we didn't talk about. So yeah, this gets a solid 5 for me out of 10. And where it goes in my rankings, you'll probably see. So Joe, you rewatched the entire DCU, so
I
I'll give.
rewatched all. I'm. It's technically 16 projects, but I watched 18 projects because BVS, Ultimate Edition, and Justice League. Obviously, I threw all those in together. So, where my ranking sits, I'm going to go from the bottom to the top. So, 18 on. Very last one is Suicide Squad, 2017 Justice League. Terrible. Just above that, at 17 is Wonder Woman 1984. We got Suicide Squad, the first one, just above that. Just above that is Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, the theatrical cut. I gotta be specific about that. The theatrical cut, because it was half a movie. Plain and simple. Then up here at 18, 17, 16, 15, 14 is Shazam Fury of the Gods. Next is Shazam, Black Adam, The Flash. So at number 1, 2, I really should have numbered these. I was going to before.
Letterbox.
9, 10. Yeah, whatever. So I don't, it's whatever. So number 10 is Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
Okay, that's where it ended up.
Okay, so 9 is Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. 8 is Blue Beetle. 7 is Aquaman. 6 is Peacemaker.
Ooh.
Yep. 5 is the Suicide Squad. 4 is Wonder Woman. 3 is Man of Steel. 2 is Zack Snyder's Justice League. And my number 1 overall, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, Ultimate Edition.
That's a pretty good list there, Joe, I must say.
I think so.
I will hop into my list now. And I'll go down from the bottom. My least favorite film was Wonder Woman 84. Next to that is Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Next to that
Wow.
is Shazam Fury of the Gods. Next to that is Suicide Squad 2016. Next to that is Blue Beetle. Next to that is Black Adam. Black Adam rose for me for all the Dr. Fate and Hawkman stuff in this film. The Dr. Fate, especially,
Yes.
he's a favorite of mine, and I've rewatched some of the scenes before. The first Shazam film is at number 9 for me. Number 8 is The Flash. Number 7 is Birds of Prey. Number 6 is Aquaman. Number 5 is The Suicide Squad. Number 4 is Wonder Woman. Number 3 is Man of Steel. Number 2 is Zack Snyder's Justice League. And number 1 is Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition. So,
Yep.
yeah, we had the same top
Pretty
5.
similar. Yeah.
I even agree with you. I really enjoyed this universe. It's given me some of my favorite comic book movies of all time. So
Yes.
I'll be happy with that. I'm sad. A lot of potential, a lot of what ifs for this universe as a talking point down the line of what could have been. Let's hope that the DCU is successful. Superman Legacy is a great film, and we get a lot of good films to review in the DCU going forward in 2025 and onward, Joe.
Yeah. No, it definitely is saddened that
Mm.
these last 5 got shuffled around, and
Yeah.
the order that they should have been in, I think, would have helped probably maneuver things. But it is what it is. It sucks, but I'm right there with you. I enjoyed the DC EU
Mhm.
overall. Even looking at my list, my if you're not counting, well, let's see, because Justice League is a terrible movie, so that's obviously at the bottom. Wonder Woman 1984, there is some good in there, but one of the reasons why I have it so low is there's no ramifications from the movie.
Mhm.
Like nothing in BVS or Zack Snyder's Justice League give any. And I understand this movie came out after those two, but like, what about Shazam?
Yeah.
Shazam came out after 84. Well, Fury of the Gods came out after 84, or even Black Adam. Like, those are two movies that could have hinted at the events of Wonder Woman 84. Like, oh, we haven't seen something like this since in 30 years. Over like,
Nothing's hitting at that film, Joe. Nothing's hitting at that film.
but that's what I'm saying. Like, but look at the MCU. Like, how many people hated Thor: The Dark World, and the MCU kept shoving it down our throats to the point of
Well, it
like,
was one of the Infinity Stones in that movie, so
that's
it's
what I'm
like,
saying. Like,
well,
but
hopefully,
what
again,
but what I'm
hopefully all this stuff's for DC. Hopefully, these are things that the DCU can make note on and actually do going forward.
but what I was gonna get at though, like, you have Suicide Squad, which if we ever get David Ayer's cut, like, I'll love that. I'll throw that on here.
Mhm.
But outside of 84, Batman vs Superman, Suicide Squad, and Justice League all were incomplete films, technically. So my very first one is Shazam: Fury of the Gods, and even at that, like, I'd probably rank it at like a 6.
Pretty low.
So it's still low, sure, but to me, anything above a 5, I'm rewatching.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
Fury
I
of the
wouldn't not
Gods
watch
still
it.
has a ton of rewatchability. Whereas, I mean, even Suicide Squad, the first Suicide Squad, has some rewatchability. I
Some really
wish it would
cool
just be
scenes.
what it was supposed to be.
Some really cool
So,
scenes, but we'll probably get those cool scenes again in the air cut if we ever get that.
probably get better scenes, yes.
And we will
But I
revisit
mean,
our rankings whenever we get the air cut, Joe, of the
oh,
DCEU.
I will. I mean, I would definitely. It might shake up what I have here, depending on how
Same
the
for
movie
me.
plays
It
out.
really,
So,
really could shake it up for me. It could move it up quite a bit. I
yeah,
I look forward to that day, Joe. I'm excited for the DCU when we get it. It's been fun reviewing
I
these.
am.
It's been a good year for DC. With well, it
It's
has
been
been
a
a great
look. Okay,
has been a
the
great year
projects have
financially.
been fun.
Yes,
The
we've enjoyed
projects
all
have been fun.
we've
Yes,
enjoyed these projects, and uh, I look forward to what we get in 2024. Listeners, until then, see you, everyone. It's been fun.
bye
Later, Joe.
guys.